And now for the mighty Wesbank modified saloons. This is going to be the first race here at Kyalami. And on the grid, on pole position, as you see, Sorrel van der Merwe in the Audi. But George Fishy, the new name in racing, is alongside him in the Sassel Ford. And there's George. Let's hear a few words from Graham down on the grid with George Fishy.
Thank you very much, Roger. George, you're going to have a tough time ahead of you. Graham Duxbury's not in the event. Nursed the gearbox. And is there anything else that you're going to concentrate on?
I think just to keep the car in one pace and try and win the race. It's a lot of heat out here, so everything gets hot in the car. I just want to be careful, and we'll have to see in the second heat what happens.
George, go well. All the best for your first drive in the Sapphire Ford Turbo. Back to Roger and Hendra.
And all the engines are fired up now and starting to go. It's very hot and steamy out here at Kyalami. The temperature's soaring. And when George says it's hot in the motor car, it's hot on the track too. We've got a track thermometer down there. Let's have a look at the temperature. There you are, 51, going up to 52, and expected even to get higher later in the afternoon. So it's hot on the tyres, it's hot on the drivers, and it's going to be a hot race. This is the warm-up lap. They go off behind the pace car. And the bad news for the Ford fans is that George Fishy has not got a man riding shotgun. They've just wheeled away Graham Duxbury's race-winning and record-breaking car into the pits. He ran out of gears on the warm-up lap, or it seemed to be gears that were giving him the troubles. That's a great pity in that motor car, as he's now being left on the shoulders of young George Fishy, the Springbok, the world sports car racer, the Lamar star who's done so well for South Africa. And of course, alongside him, or just ahead of him on the grid there, in that Audi Turbo, is Sorrel van der Merwe. And they've certainly got a lot of experience in very powerful turbocharged cars at Lamar, around the world, in America and in Japan, where George currently does very well indeed. In third position, that mighty Sabre at V8 Opel record of Willie Hepburn. It's been thundering around here yesterday. It broke the lap record on qualifying tyres. He's fitted harder rubber now to last the distance over the 10 laps of this race. That's 39 kilometres of the circuit, and Willie Hepburn on a high, and he certainly never gives up. While that car is working, he's going to be in there with them. Then you see the champion, the Wesbank champion, the Gearmax Skyline of Johan Coetzee. He's in fourth position and very happy to be ahead, on time anyway, of Ivor Roche in the Hyperspace Mazda. He is from King Williamstown. You can see him in the BP colours on the other side of the road, those green and yellow colours. Then we've got Ben Morganroot, who's moved back a class. He's just imported a 3-rotor Mazda racing engine, which is going to fit into his 323, and we hope to see that out at the race meeting in Cape Town on the 17th of February. And these mighty Wesbank cars will be seen in action on that tight, exciting circuit down at Cape Town. It's Sorrel van der Merwe. Let's read them off. George Fishy, Willie Hepburn. There's Johan Coetzee and Ivor Roche. Kerry Dunkley's alongside Ben Morganroot as they go down there. A little further behind, we've got Larry Wolford. And the leader of Class C, the 2-litre class, Dave Repsol in that pink Toyota. You'll see him come inside now. His brother races powerboats. You see him also in the pink powerboat, the Formula 1 powerboat. Dave Repsol, the big news, is faster than the champion in the class, which is Peter Lance in the Sabre Golf, the Swiss Peter Lance. A very, very effective driver indeed. Class D is George Poseidonot in the BP Nissan Sentra. There's Pat Duckham in the Fram Sierra. He's up from Peter Marisburg. There's nothing between those two. Just about half a second between those two as they come into sight there now. I see Sean van der Linden's Formula car there, and that's driven by Ray Wolford in the City Golf. First time he's ever been in a big motor race like this, and doing very respectable times. You can see Repsol's car coming to sight, that pink colour, and the crowd certainly, they love it. They love it. The Ford fans are here, the Audi fans, and the big Opel record fans are here. They're looking for the green light. There's 10 laps ahead, and the thunder there of Willie Hepburn's car, it overshadows everything else with the popping and squeaking, and Coetzee's gone up. Morganroot's been in behind him. Coetzee's gone up, and so's Roche. Coetzee's trying to get in, but I see a back wheel is wobbling at the back there, Roche. So in that desperate drag there to the first corner around Budget Corner, Coetzee's riding on a flat wheel. It looked very wobbly to me. You can see it rubbing against the mudguard, and that's the defending champion. Not a good start to the race meeting. It's the Audi now with George Fishy tucked in behind him. Willie Hepburn thundering around as they go up through the second, the top Sport S's, up the Winfield Hill, and Hepburn is losing nothing to those turbocharged cars. Very hot for turbos. They produce a lot more power at this altitude. Willie's car seems to be understeering. You see that the wheels turn in sharper than they should, and he's tucked right in behind George Fishy, looking for a place to come past. Here's the start again as they get away. Let's have a look. There's Sorrel van der Merwe out-drags the whole lot of them, and there's Coetzee going now. It was Ben Morganroot right in behind him. There he's appearing in sight now in the B-class car. Morganroot, to all intents and purposes, out. Let's have a look at that back wheel. I think it clipped there, the rash car on the right, and those BP colour. Yeah, that wheel's had it. The wheel is punctured, bits and pieces of car flying all over the place. So that's a great pity. Those are B-class cars. Those are the three leading contenders are going to give the others a chance to gain points today. As into National Panasonic on the first tour. 9 to go. Saul van der Merwe tucked in behind him, that big wide wing. The latest livery now, different body parts on it, is George Fisher. 2 Springboks in the front. Willie Hepburn tucked in behind, just thunders. You can feel it through your feet as they come past our commentary position, and they get into budget corner now. Hepburn is staying right in. He's got to be careful that his tyres don't go off. In this sort of temperature, your car will start to slip and slide. Once those tyres are warmed up, they can't cool them down. Leading Class B at the moment is Larry Wilford in the Saybat Skyline. He's right up there in 4th position, ahead of the Saybat Porsche of Gary Dunkley. So he's right in the picture and going very well indeed. Willie Hepburn staying in there, and there's Ben Morganroot's car. That's the Autofit B-class car. That's not the one I was talking about, the 3-rotor motor, which I hope to see in Cape Town. It's a funny sight to see. Those are 2. There's Rash goes through into the pits first. He wants the damage repaired quickly. But in a 10-lap race like this, a sprint, you can't afford to come in the pits like this and hope to get back in the race and gain any sort of points. The order as we go into the second lap, or halfway around the second lap. Hepburn looking through a place to watch him put the power on around here. He'll go right to the outside around Conti Corner. He uses all the road, and it's black lines all the way through as he feeds that 640 horses through those big 15-inch wheels onto the tar as he comes down the road. Hepburn's not letting them get away. George Fisher's playing it cleverly. You can see the exhaust behind the right front wheel there as he changes gear. It's Van der Merwe in control. The pressure's on them. Van der Merwe very good in 4-wheel drives. He gets them sliding. He's got to save his tyres. He's got to save his turbo as they come popping and squeaking through here, the sounds and the V8. And we've got a real race on a hand. 2 laps are gone. It's Sarl in front. There we've got Ivor Roche, the King Williamstown boy. He's certainly out of this race. He's given it up. It's Sarl van der Merwe, George Fisher en Willie Hepburn in the front. 1, 2 and 3.
En 'n geweldige taktiese stryd wat hier op die oomblik aan die gang is. Daar is soveel verskillende faktore wat natuurlik ook 'n rol speel in die vertoning van hierdie motors. En Fisher probeer aan die binnekant en hy neem van der Merwe. Fisher spring aan die binnekant van der Merwe deur, die eerste van die Topsport S, en dit wys die ondervinding wat hy al reeds opgedoen het in internasionale sportmotorwedrenne. As hy 'n gaping sien, dan neem hy hom en hy gebruik hierdie gaping wat van der Merwe hom gegee het. Hy het die regte lyn aan die binnekant van Wesbank draai en Willie Hepburn is naby. Willie Hepburn is naby aan van der Merwe. Ons het gesê daar's baie faktore wat 'n rol speel. Die hitte speel 'n groot rol. Die turbo aanjaar speel 'n groot rol. En van der Merwe gaan aan die binnekant, gaan hy probeer. En Hepburn is aan die buitekant van Sarel van der Merwe. Hier is dit daarom aksie hier die boonste rakke. Die hitte speel 'n rol, die turbo aanjaar speel 'n rol, die bande speel 'n rol. Al hierdie verskillende soorte faktore speel 'n rol in die uitslag van hierdie wedren en dinge kan gebeur tot aan die einde van die 10de ronde. Ons het al reeds 2,5 rondes gesien met George Fisher wat op die oomblik voorloop, Sarel van der Merwe in die tweede plek en Willie Hepburn in die derde plek. Dis die eerste 3 klas A motors. In klas B is dit Larry Wilford en Gary Dunkley wat sake uitspook om die eerste plek, en Johnny Eekhout is ook daar in sy klas A Commodore, 'n splinternuwe motor wat ons nog nie voorheen gesien het nie. Hier op Kyalami nie. Dave Repsold is daar, so sy klas C motorkie. Hy is in die 7de plek en Pieter Lans is in die 8ste plek en tweede in klas C. Maar aan die einde van die derde ronde nog steeds George Fisher, Sarel van der Merwe en Willie Hepburn. En die bande wat op hierdie 52 grade baanoppervlak moet werk so hard as wat hulle kan. Van der Merwe kom aan die binnekant van die geel bladsye, gaan uit maak. Ja! Van der Merwe druk hom absoluut deur daar so aan die binnekant van die geel bladsye draai. En hier is 2 manne wat vir mekaar nie 'n enkele duim gaan skiet gee nie. Willie Hepburn sit daar agter in sy groot Saybat Opel rekord. V8 masjien, 5,7 liter, 640 perdekrag wat hy uitstoot. En hy het die breedste bande van seker almal van hulle op hierdie baan. Ons is reeds besig om die agterste manne in te haal. Graham Cooper daar onder in die kuipe en ons gaan presies hoor wat het gebeur met daai insident in die begin van die eerste ronde reg na die wegsprong. Kom ons skakel oor na Graham Cooper in die kuipe.
Johan Coetzee, 'n man wat ons almal baie goed ken in die Wesbank gemodifiseerde motors. Johan, die eerste ronde toe dit begin het, julle was skaars vir my die beginpunt. Toe sien ek hoe jou motor skuins draai voordat julle die ou sonsondergang draai bereik het. Wat het gebeur, Johan?
Wel, al wat ek kan sê is dat as Ben Morgenrood agter jou is, kan jy weet jy word gestamp. En ek weet nie, ek is net baie kwaad en teleurgestel.
Wel, Johan Coetzee, ek hoop julle kry die saak opgelos. En vir my op terug na klasse McLaren en dit verhoog.
And that's certainly showing on his face. There's no doubt about that as the big race goes on in the front there. Just to tell you a little further back in the B class, Larry Wolford in the Sabat Scala and Gary Dunkley in the Sabat Porsche are tied together, but here's the race in the front. Little further back is Dave Repsol in the Toyota Conquest, putting it up over Peter Lance's Sabat Golf. That's another big hunt. They're hardly a car length apart. And he's going for it. The Sheik couldn't quite make it down. He's got to watch his way through the slow traffic. It moves over. That's the 1300cc class car moves over there. That's look like Johan Crundling maybe as they go up the hill, the Winfield Hill. The heat is on. Van der Merwe knows he's got a real race on his hands. Hepburn's got to watch that he doesn't overheat those tyres. You saw the temperature there was 52. We heard it's gone up now to 53 degrees as these drivers must be sweating it outside, and Hepburn's looking for a place through. He's going to go through the inside. What a place to go, trying to pass anybody down through Arjar into Conti. Just on go the brakes. You see those skirts touching the road. Now the power comes on. Watch, will he get that tail out as he goes, and those black lines come on the road as he pours it on. That V8 power, that big V8 Ray Falconer prepared engine from the States. They run him in NASCAR racing. He's pushing that Opel record faster than it's ever gone. He's hanging in there. He's keeping the pressure on. We're finishing 5 laps now. We've nearly finished 5 laps as they go around. Cyril van der Merwe seems to be in control. He'll be watching his turbo pressures. He'll certainly be watching his temperatures inside that motor car. They run extremely hot. Look at that lovely shot as they come past Grundling. That's Grundling this time. Johan Grundling in that little Sabat Golf as these 3 thunder through. They pop, squeak and thunder as they come through. Van der Merwe looks like his tyres are starting to go off a bit there. He's going wide all the time. George is keeping the pressure on, and Willie Hepburn's right in there too. He knows if he keeps the... Oh, George is losing it. He's lost it, those tyres. Let go, and Hepburn's the second. He's just touched that. I think he's going to get away with it. He's looking for reverse gear. I don't think he's ever used it before. He can't find reverse. That's a disaster for him. And the marshals are helping him out of the way. He can't find reverse. That's a great pity for him. He just lost it. Those tyres have been overworked on the road. But what a beautiful looking car that Cecil Ford is. And does it go? It's been in the front. It holds the lap record here at Kyalami, and George is back in the race. He needs to really put foot now if he's going to catch these two. And Willie Hepburn's lining up Cyril van der Merwe. One thing about he's got is reliability. Here they come into yellow pages again. This corner's caught out a lot of drivers. Sorrel goes through safely. There's George losing it. The back is coming round. He's trying to correct. It's too late. He's fighting it. There's an experienced driver at the wheel, and he just about gets away with it. He's got away with it. If he can find reverse, he can keep it going. But then it lets go there, and he heads for the fence and just bumps into that arm. Great pity, because I think it's going to push that bodywork back. There it is. So they'll have to straighten that out for the second race. Well, that's a great pity there that George Trichy's out. And here's Sorrel. And there's Willie Hepburn still in the pictures that come round. They're getting amongst the slower traffic. We've got, they've just passed the Framsey area there of Pat Duckham coming into sight. It's just that red and white car just behind it. Sorrel now, and the pressure is really on him from Willie Hepburn. Oops, we've got Eckert going out there in car number 5, is it? Johnny Eckert's going out as number 8 in that big Chev. It's a great pity there. But this is the sort of pressure that's on this in this race, and those big motor cars are overheating their tyres. That's just coming out of the top sport S's. It's Van der Merwe in the front. Willie Hepburn's putting in the pressure. We've got 3.5 laps to go.
Dis die oorlog van die groot kanonne hierdie letterlik hier op Kyalami, die klas A turbo aangejaagde motor van Cyril van der Merwe, die 2.2 liter turbo aangejaagde 4-wiel aangedrewe Audi Quattro turbo van Cyril van der Merwe wat voorloop. Willie Hepburn in die V8 Opel record en die Sabat kleure is in die tweede plek. George Forsier wat uit is verder af teruggesak en het baie tyd verloor na daardie incident in die geel bladsy draai, en hy het verder teruggesak. Ons sal nou vir u sê presies waar hy is. Larry Wolford op die oomblik in die 4de plek, gevolg deur Gary Dunkley. Dis die eerste 2 klas B motors. Ons het ongelukkig nie daardie incident gesien, daardie opgang na Wesbank draai nie, maar u kan sien dat hier absoluut geen genade gegee of gevra word nie, en Willie Hepburn is besig om nader te skuif aan Van der Merwe. Is Van der Merwe besig om probleme met sy bande te ondervind, of is dit 'n strategiese skuif van hom dat hy net stadiger ry en wag dat Hepburn naderkom. Ons moet sien wat gebeur tot aan die einde van hierdie wedren, maar Van der Merwe wat hierdie wedren absoluut onder beheer het. Daar is geen kwessie daaroor dat hy op die oomblik absoluut in beheer is van hierdie wedren. Die Cyril van der Merwe met die verskil tussen hom en Willie Hepburn 1,8 sekondes, net 1,8 sekondes. Enigiets kan nog gebeur. Ons het 7 rondes gehad. 7 rondes van hierdie 10 ronde wedren en dis gewoonlik in die laaste paar rondes waar die dinge besig is om te gebeur, waar die bande besig is om hulle vasklou vermoë te verloor en waar hulle gaan probleme kry om op die pad te bly. Willie Hibben, daar is George Verseer, lyk my weer eens van die baan afgejaag. Dis hier aan die onderkant aan die begin van die hoofbouvak by National Panasonic draai. Kom ons kyk hoe lyk daai motor. Daar's 'n bietjie skade in die linkerkant voorste neusgedeelte van die motor, maar hy's terug op die baan en George Verseer is nie man wat daarvan hou om op te gee of enigsins tou op te gooi nie. Solank as sy motor nog op die baan kan bly, gaan hy daar wees en gaan hy sy beste probeer om sy posisie te verbeter. Sarah van der Merwe nog steeds aan die einde van Wesbank draai af in die mynskag. Dis die IGI pouvak in die rigting van Continental draai en jy kan sien hoe hard jaag hy om daar in te kom, maar ek dink hy is besig om sy bande so ver as moontlik te spaar. Hy jaag nie so hard as wat hy gewoonlik jaag nie. Hy hou dit baie netjies op die lyn daar deur die draai. Geen rondgegooiery van hierdie motor nie en daarom kan hy sy bande bespaar en kan hy 'n goeie vertoning lewer tot die einde te kom. George Verseer nou wat op die oomblik voorloop in klas D. Hy is op die oomblik in die 8ste plek al geheel. In die voorste plek in klas B is dit nog steeds Larry Wolford. Daardie motor is op 'n baie gevaarlike plek. Dis Johnny Eekhout se Chevrolet Commodore wat ons al voorheen gesien het in Clubmans motors, maar die eerste keer hier op Kyalami in die gang. 2 rondes wat oorbly en Willie Hibben het nog nie opgegee nie. Willie Hibben beslis sy vizier ingestel op Sarah van der Merwe en as hy 'n goeie tweede plek kan behaal, dan sal hy baie eerder graag 'n goeie eerste plek wil behaal, want dit is waar die groot prestige lê natuurlik, die eerste algehele posisie in hierdie wedrenne. Dit is waar die toeskouers gekom het om te kom kyk. Ons sien die skade daar aan George Verseer se motor. Dit is 'n groot jammerte, maar nou ja, dit lyk nie of daar ernstige skade aangerig is nie en hy sal beslis terug wees vir die tweede uitdaging in hierdie wedren. En dan kan ons werklik letterlik vuurwerke verwag.
Well, there he is in third position, George Verseer. It might be battered, but he's not beaten yet. He's in third and still putting foot, the leader. Sarah van der Merwe in the Audi as he exits Wesbank and down this frightening hill. The traffic is now starting to build up. There's the order, van der Merwe and Hepburn in your picture. Verseer some way back. Wolford still leading Dunkley in the two Sabat cars in the Skyline and the Porsche. And then Peter Lance has got ahead now of Dave Repsol, who's just ahead of Class D leader George Bezaden in the little Nissan Sentra. In Class E, it's Johan Trindling in the little Sabat City Golf. Here they come into view now, and what a sight it is to look in your mirrors and see a big, mighty one of these squeakers come down towards you. The whispering wonder car of South African racing. He won the class here last year. It's Willie Hepburn still putting the pressure on. We've got a lap, just over a lap to go as we finish up lap 9. Willie Hepburn has not let him go. This little man with a big heart is in there and still giving everything he knows. And that car's not getting, it's 1.69 seconds, that's all there's in it. Hepburn, you can hardly see him over the steering wheel. He will not give up until that checkered flag is out. If that car's able to keep going, Hepburn's going to be in there getting every ounce of power out of it. There's Ivor Ross's car back in the hunt now too. He's come onto the circuit. Sorrells at a 1 minute 30.1. It's 1:29.4 is his lap record. It was Graham Duxbury's lap record. So on this hot road, it's a little bit out, and it's nice to see Willie's not losing it too often on the hot road. His tyres must get overheated. He's getting closer. He's keeping it on. And Sorrell is trying. You can see his tyres are going off too. He doesn't need to do that too often. There's too many sensitive pieces hanging on the bottom of that motor car to go off the curb and go ripple concrete like that. You can destroy the aerodynamics and all sorts of things. It's so sophisticated under all those carbon fibre and fiberglass parts around that motor car. And Hepburn's putting the pressure on. Sarah van der Merwe is now starting to go as hard as he can. They're into IGR. On go the brakes as they're going to Conti. Down a gear. On goes the throttle. Sarah van der Merwe's got it sideways. He's got to keep the foot down. He can't go too wide. There's that car standing stationary there, and Hepburn's still in the picture. It's down to 1.5 seconds. But we've only got the third of a lap to go. Here's Sarah van der Merwe. Clear road to the end of the race. And Willie Hepburn is trying everything he knows. Not quite a lap record for van der Merwe, but Hepburn's in there. And he's trying everything. Is Willie Hepburn. As we come to the checkered flag, John Wheeler's waiting with the checkered flag. A great drive there by the Springbok Sarah van der Merwe. Somebody went off in the dirt. He comes out of the dirt, and Sarah van der Merwe wins it in the Audi. And a great cheer from the Audi team. It's now under Bernie Mariner. And there's Willie Hepburn. A tremendous performance by Willie Hepburn in that Sabre Opel V8 record. And George Verseer, we're going to see him coming along. You can just see how far these others got away. It's a great pity that he went off on yellow pages, Verseer. But he's going to come home in third position overall, and he's some way back. We'll be watching for him. And the other class positions in Class B, it's Wolford. And there he is, he's coming down NTN now. There's George Verseer coming up, and Brian Cook, that's Jimmy Cook's brother. Springbok cricketer, Brian is there racing at Kyalami. former chairman of the Wesbank Association. And here's George now coming through to get his third position and the other positions. Larry Wolford in the Sabre Scarlet ahead of Gary Dunkley. Gary Dunkley beat him to the line, I'm sorry. Peter Lance beat Dave Repsold. He's in the golf ahead of the Conquest. George Bezaiden had won the 1600cc class in the BP Nissan Sentra, and Class E was won by Duke Brewer in the Shell Escort. So that's a turn up for the books as well. That's the Wesbank Modifieds. Great racing to the start of the season.
Dit was die uitslag van die eerste uitdaging en die tweede uitdaging. Baie sake baie keer baie van dieselfde verloop. Sarah van Merwe weer eens wat daardie oorwinning behaal. Klas B was dit Johan Coetzee en Klas C was dit Dave Repsol. Klas D weer eens George Besaidnout en Klas E weer eens Duke Brewer.